Hello, people of the internet, my name is Johnny. Welcome back to yet another FNaF movie news video. In today's video, we got the cover reveal for the official FNaF 2 movie book. Skeet Ulrich has teased a big scene involving his character and Mike in FNaF 2. And lastly, we got Matthew Lillard teasing the big reveal of Springtrap in the third FNaF movie. So that and so much more we're going to be talking about today, including what might be a brand new trailer for FNaF 2 coming tomorrow. If your boy sounds a bit sick right now, it's because I am, in fact, sick right now. And you know what? For every like, I get better and better. And for every like, I will give Freddy some food. Please, you don't want him to starve. But first up, let's talk about the official Five Nights at Freddy's 2 novel, which, just like the novel for the very first FNaF movie, is pretty much the movie, but in book form, typically with some added scenes that didn't end up making the final cut of the film. And well, we got the first work-in-progress cover for the FNaF 2 movie official novelization, and you can tell it is a work-in-progress because it's just the Toy Freddy poster with FNaF 2 slapped on the top of it. But like I mentioned at the start of the video, this brand new reveal of the whip cover comes at a cost because the book has been delayed from the 3rd of February 2026 to May 5th 2026. So it's been delayed by about 3 months, and I'd assume that's just a further precaution so that leaks for this book don't get out, and therefore leaks of the movie don't get out early. And actually, speaking of the movie, we got some brand new info regarding Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that we absolutely have to talk about. First up is the movie is officially rated PG-13 for violent content, terror, and some language, which was pretty much the exact same thing FNaF 1 was rated PG-13 for. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone. I think we already went into this film expecting it to be PG-13 like the first film, which honestly, I'm fine with. I don't need a super bloody or gory FNaF movie. As long as FNaF 2 is scarier, more intense than the first movie, then honestly, I'm pretty content with that. I'd love to know what are your thoughts on FNaF 2 officially being PG-13. And then lastly, for other details before we get into some of the interviews with the cast members, we got this brand new announcement from Blumhouse confirming FNaF 2 is going to be at New York Comic Con tomorrow. Blumhouse is going to have a panel at the convention starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and running for only 1 hour, according to Forbes, where they're going to be talking about films like Black Phone 2, which is coming up, as well as Five Nights at Freddy's 2 featuring director Emma Tommy, as well as an NYCC exclusive giveaway. Not quite sure what that means just yet, but it's here that I think a lot of FNaF fans are expecting the second full-length trailer for FNaF 2, and it's honestly perfect timing. It's been long enough since the first full-length trailer. We're only 2 months away now from the release of the film. I'm sure Blumhouse is very interested in running another trailer in front of Black Phone 2 when that hits theaters. It honestly just seems like the perfect time to release a brand new trailer. I'd love to know what are your thoughts and expectations for the FNaF 2 panel tomorrow. And you already know we're going to be there live streaming the panel, so make sure you tune in tomorrow night to see if there is in fact a brand new trailer. And so lastly for this video, I want to talk about some of the interviews we've gotten with various cast members. I say various, it's mostly Matthew Lillard. Matthew is the gift that keeps on giving. We got a lot of interviews here with him, as well as Skeet Ulrich, who's playing a very mysterious character that we still absolutely do not know who he's playing. He definitely hasn't pretty much confirmed who he's playing here.
I was so excited when you were announced as William Afton and you as... Can I say that name? Henry?
You can, I can't.
Yeah, I can.
But first up, from Matthew Lillard's interviews, he revealed a nice little fun fact about William Afton's knife wipe in FNaF, claiming that it wasn't actually an intentional reference to Ghostface. It's something I did out of instinct that the director liked and had me do it again. I don't think I realized it was in Scream. Just for the record, I haven't seen Scream in 20 years. So it's not like I go, oh yeah, remember that thing? I'm not that smart. So I guess Matthew still just has stew running in his blood. Makes sense with Scream 7 coming out and him returning as the character. That just out of pure instinct, as he was the killer in FNaF, he did the knife wipe. But getting back on track with FNaF 2, Matthew Lillard also had an interview with the People magazine, where they write, as for what fans can expect for FNaF 2, for starters, Lillard teases that Cawthon and film director Emma Scott, that's not right, that's not her name, quote, listen to what fans had to say, which was to ultimately make the sequel even scarier than the first installment. Yes, that's what we were talking about earlier, where Matthew said, quote, we want more jump scares, he emphasizes. We want to sit in the audience and and not only get lore from the world, we want to be filled with feelings. We want to feel the movie like we felt the game. Adding that he recently saw the film himself, Lillard gave it a stamp of approval. I think they did an incredible job executing on that, he says. And I think the fans are going to lose their minds. I think the movie is really fantastic. Now, of course, Matthew, being in the film itself, is not going to say if the film was terrible. Obviously, he's a little biased here, but honestly, I do believe him, because we've gotten so many reports from so many cast and crew members that Scott and Emma really have listened to fan feedback, making it scarier, making the story better, getting more emotionally in-depth and connected to these characters. Really sounds like we're in for a much better time this time around. I'd love to know what your thoughts on Matthew hyping up FNAF 2. And then for a bit of behind the scenes, in that same interview article with People, Matthew actually revealed how Skeet got cast in FNAF 2, saying it when Scott was considering who to cast for this role that Skeet's in, he started looking around and considering who, sort of a middle-aged man. Matthew went on to recall Cawthon asking him, what's Skeet like to work with? How is he as a guy? To which he responded with something along the lines of, he's a dream. He's the sweetest man around. He's talented and he cares deeply about the fans. I think that both of us approach fandom with love and admiration and appreciation. And I think that really speaks to Scott because he has the same affiliation with his fans. I think that's one of the reasons he brought in Skeet. And I think Skeet knocked it out of the park. He's fantastic in the film and I'm excited for people to see it. Which is honestly really poetic considering it's pretty similar to how Matthew himself was cast as William, with Scott really appreciating Matthew's involvement and commitment to the fan base. For example, staying later than scheduled at conventions to make sure that every fan got to see him. And then speaking of Skeet, he may have accidentally teased a big scene with his character and Mike in FNAF 2.
My experience was pretty amazing. There was something, it was really well written. I felt like I understood it and connected to him and pretty quickly. We sort of worked on the look of him for a couple of days and tried various things and tested them and stuff like that and figured out what it would be and then rehearsed. Josh and I, who had a big scene together.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
And it was pretty magical.
So this does confirm that we will likely see Mike interact with Skeet's character, which, assuming he is who fans are speculating him to be, and how much Skeet is really building up, hyping up this quote-unquote big scene together, that's just gonna be so surreal. I cannot wait to see the context of whatever he's talking about. So we got Skeet teasing a big scene together with Josh Hutcherson's Mike character, but that's not the only teaser we got for Skeet's character, because now it seems like Matthew Lillard might be the one letting things accidentally slip out during interviews.
I always love spending time with Matt. He's one of the greatest people I know, quite honestly. He's such a, as you guys have experienced, he's such a giving man, and so I always like spending time with him, and that was no exception.
I am thrilled to have him in the community. I think people are gonna. I saw his performance this week. They're gonna love it. I think he's playing a great character. That if the movie's successful, hopefully he comes back. I don't know if that I can say that. I don't think him.
Yeah,
always
they
come
always
back.
do.
We've seen how voracious this Five Nights community is, and I just think it's lovely to have him a part of that. I'm glad Scott brought him in.
Now, of course, it's incredible to hear that Matthew really enjoyed Skeet's performance in the movie, and especially interesting, the fact that he says hopefully he can come back in future installments. Seemingly confirming, maybe, that Skeet's character is going to survive and live beyond the events of FNAF 2. Which, again, would make sense if he truly is Henry Emily, as what's heavily theorized right now. Surely they're gonna have the character stick around until that 6th movie or whatever movie installment FNAF 6 Pizza Sim is going to be, because they just have to keep that character around long enough to get to that big finale speech that we hear at the end of the game. So yeah, it would make sense if he stuck around a bit longer in the film franchise until he got that big moment in the films. However, there is also the possibility that the coming back portion involves flashbacks, hallucinations, pretty much exactly what we're seeing with William Afton here in FNAF 2. Maybe flashbacks to Fredbears, the early years of Freddy, stuff like that. So I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on the possibility of Skeet coming back in future FNAF movies as his character? But then someone who absolutely will be coming back in future movies as he is the Voldemort of this universe, it's William Afton. And I feel like with every new interview, Matthew Lillard is just getting more and more excited to fully become Springtrap. And we actually got a little behind the scenes once again, this time with the Dead by Daylight collab, surprisingly enough, which then leads us into Matthew Lillard's Springtrap in the FNAF 3 movie. I'll just let you listen to the clip.
I love William Afton. The first movie, I think I had like 2 written lines in the script, and I said to the director, I'm like, why do you want me in this movie? And she's like, you're the Voldemort of the universe, and they can't make a movie without you. And I'm like, I'm so in. But I will say this, I said to Scott, I was like, I love being a part of the franchise. I love I value that part and what William Afton means to the fans. And so I take it really seriously. In fact, Dead by Daylight, the video game, they were like, we want you to do the Springtrap lines. And I'm like, I'm not doing Springtrap until I do Springtrap for the movie. Mm-hmm. So the only way I do Springtrap is that people go see the movie on December 5th. Yeah. And then they'll make a third.
So yeah, interestingly enough, it sounds like before they got PJ Haywood back to voice Springtrap for Dead by Daylight, it sounds like they wanted Matthew Lillard to voice baseline Springtrap instead of just the yellow rabbit costume that we see in the final version of FNAF DBD. However, it seems like when Behavior asked Matthew to voice baseline Springtrap, he actually turned them down, saying he hasn't done Springtrap in the movies, therefore he's not doing Springtrap in Dead by Daylight. Just the yellow rabbit, at least for now, because he does say the only way he can do Springtrap is if people see FNAF 2 and then they make a third movie. Pretty much confirming FNAF 3 movie is gonna have William Afton, Matthew Lillard, Springtrap, which obviously, you know, that's no shocker to anyone. Springtrap is the big baddie of FNAF 3. Of course, they're gonna have full-blown Springtrap in the FNAF 3 movie, but it's nice to have pretty much full-on confirmation from the actor of William Afton, Springtrap himself. And I think the most exciting thing, once again, is that it sounds like Matthew Lillard really can't wait to do FNAF 3 and fully become Springtrap. He's really urging FNAF fans to go see FNAF 2 in theaters when it comes out on December 5th. So then it gets a big box office, they greenlight a third movie, they shove him in that rabbit suit for 30 years.
I think fans love the first movie because there's so much lore. I think there's a lot of lore again, but I think that Scott and Emma, the director, listen to fans, and it's scarier. It's got more jump scares, there's more action, there's more going on. I think it's going to be a monster hit. I think fans are going to absolutely eat it alive. It's super fun. No pressure. This is very slutty for me to say. But if people see it in the theater and it's a hit, they'll make a third.
It honestly is just so nice to hear how excited Matthew Lillard is to continue playing this character. It really seems like he holds William Afton in a special place in his heart. And I do think we're going to get that third movie, especially because we already know he signed a 3-picture deal. But nonetheless, I do think we're going to get FNAF 3. And it really sounds like Matthew Lillard is going to go all in on Springtrap, really work his butt off and give us fans exactly what we're waiting for. That's going to do it for all the FNAF movie news today. Once again, tomorrow is the BlumFest panel, which is going to have Emma Tommy, FNAF 2 movie, exclusive giveaway, and maybe, just maybe, a brand new trailer. Hope to see you guys tomorrow there for that, and again, I apologize for sounding so disgusting and gross today. I feel so disgusting and gross today. But thanks for watching nonetheless, and I'll see you all tomorrow for that panel.